Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to analyze one reading passage from the official IELTS books, Cambridge IELTS 17 Academic. It's test 3, passage 3. I'm going to answer all the questions and analyze each, providing explanation for the correct answers. So if you have the book, make sure to go to pages 67 and 68 and follow along to learn the best strategies for each question type. Now, to support this channel, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Okay, so the first step is always to skim the passage. So what I'm going to do now is spend 1 to 3 minutes. Of course, with my explanations, it'll be longer, but when you're doing it on your own, don't spend more than 3 minutes on the skimming stage. I mean, you should not look at the questions yet, but look at the heading, the subheading, if available, the thesis statement, which is the last sentence of the introduction, the first sentence of each body paragraph, and the conclusion. This gives you a global understanding of the text. So it's important to know what the whole text is about before you even look at the questions. It's a very common mistake to start with the questions, thinking, well, I want to save time, but that's not going to save your time. It's going to even make things worse because the questions, I mean, each question is a mystery. And without having this global understanding of the text, you will have a very hard time answering the questions efficiently. Now, yes, we have this heading. It says building the skyline. And by the way, I'm doing this for the first time with you, so I'm thinking just the way you would. So you can just answer the questions with me, or you can watch the whole process and take the test on your own. Alternatively, you can stop the video, take the test on your own, and then compare your way with my way, and then see which is more effective. Now, the title says Building the Skyline, the Birth and Growth of the Manhattan's Skyscrapers. Okay, so it seems like, okay, let me just pick up my marker. If you take IELTS on paper, you can use a pencil to do so, or on the computer, you can highlight key phrases. It's not as easy to highlight words on the computer, but still there is this facility for you in the exam. So building the skyline. So it's about the birth and growth of skyscrapers in that city. Reviews a book by blah blah about the development. Okay, it's about the development of New York City. It's a review of a book. So now this introduction paragraph is rather long. We try to understand the aim of the article by reading the thesis statement, the last sentence of the introduction. If it's not clear enough, we have the right to read the whole paragraph completely. I mean, the introduction paragraph. But usually the last sentence gives a lot of important information. The tone and organization of the book changes somewhat between the first and second parts, and as the latter chapters incorporate aspects of Barr's related research papers. Okay. Okay, it's clear that the essay is going to, I mean, the article is going to look at how the book is organized, its tone, and yeah, the chapters, what is in each chapter. Okay, that's pretty much what we need to know for now. Barr. So who is Barr? Barr is that Jason Barr here. Yes. Barr begins chapter 1 by taking the reader. Okay, so this paragraph is about chapter 1, giving a fascinating account of how the cities I might have looked. Okay, so it's about the look of the city from the sky. Chapters 2 and 3 take the reader up. Okay, so this paragraph is about chapters 2 and 3. Take the reader up to the Civil War. Okay, with chapters 2 focusing on the early development of the land. Okay, early development of land and grid system. Chapter 2 and 3 focus on land use before. Okay, land use. before the Civil War. So there's a link between Civil War and the city's development. Next paragraph will be chapter 4. Okay, chapter 4. So you see, this article is pretty organized. So it looks like it's easy to skim it because every paragraph is focusing on one or two chapters of the book. So chapter 4 focuses on immigration and the location of neighborhoods. Okay, immigration, location of neighborhoods, and tenants. What? Okay, tenements. In the 19th century. Okay, part 2 of the book. Okay, so this is part 2. Part 2 begins with a discussion of the economics of the skyscraper height. What's that supposed to mean? Chapter 5 also has chapter 5 discussion of the technological advances. Chapter 7, what is that? Bedrock myth. So whatever it is, it's a myth that it tackles the assumption that the absence of bedrock close to the surface between downtown and midtown New York is reason for skyscraper not being built. Okay. It's about the reason. There's a myth. So it means it's not true. Chapter 8 and 9 focus on the birth of, chapter 8 and 9, birth of Midtown. Okay, it's about the birth of Midtown and the building boom of this decade. Okay. In the final chapter, chapter 10, Bard discusses another of his empirical papers that estimates Manhattan. Okay, so this chapter 10, the paper of this person values, okay, to the present. All right, from this century to present. Okay, so see, now by doing this, we have a better understanding, a better idea of all the paragraphs, even though we haven't read the details, because we don't need to. Now, we're going to start answering the actual questions. We have questions 27 to 40. Yeah. So we are given 3 question types. Type 1, this group would be multiple choice questions. This one, yes, no, not given questions. And finally, we have a summary completion task with a box, of course. Now, we should make this important decision of which question type to start with. We'd better start with question types that are in passage order. To be specific, multiple choice questions are always in passage order, meaning 28 is always after 27, 29 after 28, and so on and so forth. Yes, no, not given questions are also in passage order, so these 2 question types are supposed to be done first. I call them the golden questions. And finally, we have this summary task, which should be done towards the end of the test. Never start with the summary task because it requires you to have deeper understanding of the text. So I'm definitely not going to start with this task now. I would start with this group or this group. Doesn't really make a difference. Let's just start with this group of questions. Well, we have the reference to the paragraph numbers, like the first paragraph. So it's clear that this question will be from paragraph 1. We don't have to start with the first question. We should start with the one that takes us to the right place quickly. Now, the good news is these questions have chapter numbers and some keywords like this number or the idea of land values. So we can use these. Okay, tenements and what's that? Chester, respond to maybe this name as well. Okay, so no, this name is not useful because we have it all over the place. So yeah, now we can decide which one of these to start with. Because we have this clear numbering, let's start with the first one anyway. And by the way, remember, the options that are given, the options are always, not always actually, but very much, pretty much usually, almost always, from the same area. I mean, if this is from paragraph 1, if the question is from paragraph 1, if the correct answer is from paragraph 1, all the options are from the same neighborhood, from the same area. Okay, one of them is the correct answer, but the distractors or the incorrect options are also from the same area. This is very helpful when the question does not tell you where the answer can be found. Here we are lucky to see first paragraph. Now, um, now that we know which paragraph to deal with, it's better not to read the question, the options at all, because these tend to confuse you. This could be they're designed in a way that they are tempting, distracting, and usually the wrong options are too attractive and cause confusion. So let's just start with the question itself. What point does Chester make about Barr's book in the first paragraph? Now we need to read the paragraph more carefully. So, who's that guy? Chester. Okay, Chester. Who's Chester? Yes, this person, Catherine Chester, is talking about Barr's book. So, Barr takes the reader through a detailed history of New York City. The book combines this and this and this and a lot of data to explain why business clusters developed where they did and how the early decisions of workers and firms shaped the skyline we see today. Building the skyline is organized into two distinct parts. The first is primarily historical and addresses blah blah blah. Okay, and the second deals primarily with the 20th century and is a compilation of chapters commenting on different aspects of New York's urban development. The tone and organization of the book changes somewhat between the first and second part, as the latter chapters incorporate aspects of Barr's related research papers. So let's see what options we have. It gives a highly original explanation of urban development. I don't think it said so. Elements of Barr's research papers are incorporated throughout the book. No. It was not through. It was only in the last chapter. So this is wrong. So you can eliminate this option. Other books that are available on the subject have taken a different approach. What? No, shouldn't say that. It covers a range of factors that affected the development of New York. That could be a possibility. It says it's either D or A. Highly original explanation of urban development. This is too general. The paragraph was not about urban development in general. It was specifically about New York. So this is more relevant. So I would choose D. So let's suppose that this is the answer sheet. So 27. I mean, let's record the answers here. 27D. Now, we can move on to the next one. I remember this word, but yeah, and we also have chapter 6. So let's see. This has to be before 6. We can answer 29, or we can find this word. Chapter 6, chapter 5, chapter 7. Where is chapter 6? Chapter 4, chapter part 2, chapter 5. Okay, here. Where is chapter 6? We need to scan for chapter 6 somewhere. You have 8, 9, 7, 5. Where's 6? Oh yeah, here it is. So what do we need to do? Chapter 6 is there, and this is before chapter 6. Yeah. So I think we can find this answer first and then this one. Remember, they're in passage order. So how does Chester respond to the information in the book about tenement? I'm not sure how it's pronounced. But in any case, I don't even know what it means, which doesn't really matter. How does Chester respond to the information in the book about this? Respond to this. Okay, how does it respond? How does he or she actually respond to that? So let's look at the paragraph. Barr identifies four primary immigrant enclaves and analyzes their location in terms of the amenities available in the area. Most of these enclaves were located on the least valuable land between the industries located on the waterfront and the wealthy neighborhoods bordering Central Park. Okay, what are the options we have? She describes the reasons. No, there were no reasons there. She indicates a potential problem with Barr's analysis. She compares Barr's conclusion with that of other writers. She provides none of these. Maybe there's more information afterwards. Part two. Uh, So I don't know. I don't have any evidence. So because we haven't made any progress in this question, we'd better leave it alone and move on to question 29. So I don't know what this answer is. What does Chester say about chapter 6 of the book? Okay, so we know where it is. What does she say about that? Presents data on building height throughout the 20th century and uses regression analysis to predict building construction. While less technical than the research paper on which the chapter is based on, it is probably more technical than would be preferred by a general audience. So it's more technical than would be preferred by a general audience. That could be the answer, but let's see. It contains conflicting data. I don't think so. There was no conflicting data. It focuses too much on possible trends. Too much. I don't remember. It is too specialized for most readers. Yes, that's what I guessed. It draws on research that is out of date. No. Yes, it is too specialized for most readers. Let me show you why. It is the answer. It says it is probably more technical than would be preferred by a general audience. So a general audience would prefer it to be less technical, but it is more technical, which means that the general audience wouldn't like it. It is too specialized for most readers. Then C is the answer. So let me write the answer to 29. C. Now, shall we go back? Well, no. It's not worth spending too much time on. If there's time at the end, we'll come back to the 28 and read again. Otherwise, we choose something by chance. 30. What does Chester suggest about the chapters focusing on the 1920s building boom? I can clearly remember where it was. 1920s building boom. So what was the question again? I just can't remember. What does she suggest about the chapters focus? Okay, what does she suggest about this chapter? Okay. Chapter 8 and 9. Chapter 8 contains lengthy discussions of urban economic theory that may serve as a distraction to the readers primarily interested in New York. So negative. However, they would be well suited for undergraduates learning about the economics of cities. In the next chapter, Barr considers two of the primary explanations of the building boom for the 1920s. The first being exuberance, and the second being financing. He uses data to assess the viability of these two explanations and finds that supply and demand factors explain much of the development of the 1920s. Though it enables the boom, cheap credit was not, he argues, the primary cause. Okay. So, the information should have been organized differently. It's not about the organization, really. She didn't complain about that. More facts are needed. More facts are needed. No. The explanation that is given for the building is unlikely. Unlikely? There were no predictions. Some parts will have limited appeal to certain people. Whoa. This could be the answer? It was a tough question, really. Some parts will have limited appeal. Appeal means attraction to certain people. So some people are not attracted to some parts of this chapter. I'll show you where it was. Okay, see? May serve as a distraction to readers primarily interested in New York. So readers who are primarily interested in New York are not going to be interested. It's a distraction to them, not relevant. So these people will not be interested in this chapter. So the answer is quite definitely D. Well, we can't be 100% sure, but this is the most possible or the most feasible, let's say, answer. Now, where are we? 30. Okay, 30 is done. 31. What impresses Chester the most about the chapter on land values? Chapter on land values. I remember it was here. Land values, yes. So what impresses her the most? Discusses another. The data work that went into these estimates is particularly impressive. Okay. The data work that went into these estimations is particularly impressive. So I think we have the answer. The broad time, no. The interesting questions that Barr asked, no. The nature of the research, no. The recommendation Barr makes for the future. None of them? Let's read more. The data work that the data work. Oh, okay, not the data itself. The data work that went into these. The data work. The work is impressive. The work is impressive. Let's see. The broad time. So it's not about the time, not the questions, the nature of the research. The research itself, yes, the research, the data work was impressive. So it means the research itself is impressive. Yeah. So out of these four, even though we're not 100% sure, C is the most probable answer. The nature of the research, because of the keywords. What was that? Data work. Yeah. The data work that went into these estimations is particularly impressive. Okay, so we're left with one unanswered question. Now, what would you do? Would you go to 28 now? Well, I wouldn't. I would definitely, if it was my exam, I would definitely go to 32 to 35, and I would come back to this at the very end. Here we have yes, no, not given. Should we start with 32? Not necessarily. We look at all the questions to see which one has a clue. There's a number here. 19th century, chapter 2. Okay, so maybe you should start with chapter 2 because there's a clear reference to the chapter. So 33, chapter 2 and 3. Okay, prepare the reader well for material yet to come. Chapter 2 and 3. Where is it? Where is it? Chapter 2 and 3. Okay. Take the reader up to the with chapter 2 focusing on the early development on chapter 3 focuses on land use before the Civil War. Both chapters are informative and well researched and set the stage for the economic analysis that comes later in the book. Yes, set the stage for. Set the stage for. Set the stage for. What was that? That's prepare the reader, set the stage for the material yet to come. So the other parts of that book. So these two chapters prepare the reader for the following information in the book. And let's look at that again. Okay, both chapters 2 and 3 are informative and well researched. And okay, here's the point: set the stage, prepare the reader for the economic analysis that comes later in the book. Yes, exactly. So we have enough evidence to say with with certainty that 33 is a yes. Now we can go back to this or move on. Let's find 1600s. See, did you notice that I didn't even read the sentence because I mean, I shouldn't just waste time reading it when I haven't found the relevant section yet. So 1600s. Where's 1600s? 1600s. It was here. The answer was there. So this is before 1600s. Wait, what? Was it question 1? Yeah, the first question before chapter. So it has to be before this paragraph. 1600s. 16. So it seems like we are dealing with this part. This part. Okay. The question says the description of the first chapter of how New York. Oh, we have first chapter too. Okay, good. New York probably looked from the air in the early 16s lacks interest. What? The description in the first chapter of how New York probably looked from the air in the early 1600s lacks interest. Does not have interest. Let's see. A helicopter time machine ride, having a fascinating account of. Fascinating is positive. Account of how the New York landscape in 1609 might have looked from the sky. So it's fascinating, right? Lacks interest is the opposite. So 32 would be no. It's in fact the opposite. 35. Okay, we can go to 34 or 35. The biggest problem for many 19th century New York immigrant neighborhoods was a lack of amenities. 19th century. 19th century. Lack of amenities. The biggest problem. Immigrant neighborhoods. I remember something about immigrants. Yeah, immigration. Lack of amenities. For primary amenities available. Most of these between the industrial located. So it says the biggest problem for many of them was that the biggest problem. Yeah, there were it said something about amenities, but it didn't say it was the biggest problem. This is a very big claim. It was not given in the text. So, we found the area about amenities, but there was nothing mentioned about it being the biggest problem. Therefore, the answer is so far not given. We can write not given or simply NG. And 35, in the 19th century, New York's immigrant neighborhoods tended to concentrate around the labor, Um, mhm. Efficient from Okay. I don't see anything. Let's go back to the question again. New York's immigrant neighborhoods tended to concentrate around. Oh, sorry. I read labor is harbor, not the labor. Oh my God. It didn't make any sense to me. It's harbor. Harbor is a place. I misread it. So it's not the harbor, it's labor. So the neighborhoods tended to concentrate around the harbor. Hmm. Uh, okay. Um, on the least valuable land. Between. Okay, so the immigrants were, I mean, they lived on the least valuable land between industries located on the waterfront. So this is the harbor, the waterfront. Harbors are where boats and ships, stop and load things. So So immigrants did not live there. They lived between this and Central Park and wealthy neighborhoods of near the near Central Park. So between Central Park and the waterfront, which means they did not live around the harbor. That's for sure, not around the harbor. Therefore, the answer to number 35 would be no. Amazing. So on this page, we have only one unanswered question. Let's go on to the remaining questions. It's a summary completion task. Now, in this task, remember to look at the title of the task. If there is such a thing, if there's such a heading like the bedrock myth, it can take us to the right paragraph or paragraphs. So don't underestimate the power of such a title. Now, so we're lucky to have this title, the bedrock myth. This tells us where all the answers are from. The bedrock myth. Okay, here it is. So we know that these chapters contain the answers to bedrock myth. Not even this last paragraph. Probably this paragraph. Maybe the next. I'm not so sure. Okay, but that's where we have the term bedrock myth for the first time. Okay, so what is the best approach? The best approach is to quickly read the whole summary. It says chapter 7. Okay, we're lucky. You have 2 pieces of evidence, the number of chapter and also the name bedrock myth. Bar indicates how the lack of bedrock close to the surface does not explain why skyscrapers are absent from blah, blah, blah. He points out that although the cost of foundations increases when it is deep below the surface, this cannot be regarded as, especially when compared to a particularly enjoyable part of the chapter was Barr's, enjoyable part, was Barr's account of how foundations are built. He described not only how blah, blah are made possible by the use of blah, blah, but he also discusses there. The chapter is well researched, but relatively easy to understand. Okay, we need to also look at the options we have in the box. Development plans, excessive expense, water level, construction guidelines, deep excavations, impossible tasks, specific areas, great distance, associated risks, and total expenditure. So what we do is we try to, now that we know where these things are, the area is quite limited. It's a very restricted region in the text. We can go back to the text and, look for the answers. But the answers come from this box anyway. Okay, so we don't have to find the exact words from the text, and that's the good news. But the bad news is these could be paraphrased. So we need to have a good supply of vocabulary to understand these words and phrases. Okay, so does not explain why skyscrapers are absent from. So we need an area. Maybe specific areas. Well, we're gonna have to. We need a place. These are not places. This is the only place we have. Okay, for now I write H, and I'll go to the text to check, to make sure later. He points out that although the cost of foundations increases when this cannot be regarded as, especially when compared to, not easy to guess. Okay, he describes not only how are made, so something plural are made. Guidelines are made by the use of. Oh, I think it's B. The excavations are made. That's a possible answer. But he also discusses there maybe extensive expense. Probably associated risks. So it's either F. or D? Okay, that's my guesses. These are my guesses. Now let's go back to the first one to make sure if the answers are right or wrong. 36. So, lack of bedrock. How? Okay, absent bedrock. Mm-hmm. Where was? Okay, here it is. Smith. Absence of bedrock close to the surface between downtown. Not built between the two urban centers. Hmm? Yeah, not being built between the two urban centers. Urban centers. So absent from urban centers. We have specific areas. So yes, that could be the correct answer. Urban specific areas means the same as urban centers, like some areas in the city. Now, deep below the surface, this cannot be regarded as. I mean, I have a comparison and deep below the surface. Let's find these two clues. Compared to, you have a comparison here. Where is it deep below the surface? Argues that deeper. Okay, while deeper bedrocks. Deeper means well below the surface. Deeper bedrock does increase foundation costs. This cannot be regarded as something. Bedrock. He points out that although the cost of foundations increases when bedrock is deep below the surface, this cannot be regarded as. So it cannot be regarded as something. Okay. Chapters. Regarded as what? Okay, well, were they large compared to the overall cost of building a skyscraper? Maybe you can answer the next question first. Compared to total expenditure, maybe? Or extensive expense? No, total expenditure. This is a probable answer because it says overall costs. So total expenditure, overall cost. Yes, we can be sure about this. So the answer to this one we are pretty sure about, and this one is total expenditure. Of course, it's better to write the answers directly onto the answer sheet. So 36 would be H. 38 would be I for now. 37, we don't know. Let's go to 39. Actually, we're still there, so let's see. This cannot be regarded as great distance, deep exclamation. No. Well, it is an expense too, compared to this expense. That could be a possibility, right? I mean, excessive expense compared to total. Yeah, though they're expensive, but it is expensive, but compared to the other one, the total cost is nothing. Yeah. See, we're neither prohibitively high. The costs were not high. Okay, now I'm sure that answer 37 would be about money. So the only one about money is D. Yes. Now 39. He describes non-eligible 39 could be B or maybe. Okay, what does that be? Deep excavations. Using this tool, whatever it is. We can find that word here. Here's the word. which enabled workers to dig down for considerable distances. Okay, they could dig down. Digging is it the same as excavations? Deep, so dig down. So this is correct. So 39 would be B, and 40. Discuss, okay, but also he also discusses their blah blah. So what did this chapter is, okay, so he also discusses their what? Their it's about the excavations. So let's see. Discusses their what? Often below the water until the region borrows through technological history, discusses not only how they work, but also the dangers involved. Not only, but also. So there's a discussion, the word discuss here. Not only, but also. Where is that? It says, but also discusses their, so dangers, risks, associated risks. So it's definitely F then. So 39, oops. 39, sorry, 40 would be F. There we go. So we got all the answers, right? Except for third 28. Now, this is a tricky one. We need to check the time. If there is still some time left, we can read this part more carefully this time. If not, we can select something out of these three. This is the least possible, so it has to be one of these three. So let's read it. Let's suppose that we have some time left. So, about this, how does she respond to the information about this? Let's read that part carefully. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, do we have anything else here? Oh, we have this word here as well. So, okay, I would have liked to expand upon his claim that existence. Okay, I would have liked Bart to expand upon something. So this writer is not happy. I would have I would have liked Bart to expand upon his claim that existing blah blah prevented skyscrapers in certain neighborhoods because blah blah blah. Now the text, the question says, uh, yeah, the potential problem. Say she was not happy, so she had a problem with that. Comparison mechanisms, I don't know. Provides details about the sources. No, at least I didn't see that. But we have an indication of a potential problem with his analysis. So let's choose B, even though we're not 100% sure. So 28 is B, right? Let's read that paragraph more completely to be sure. I would, if there is time, we're gonna do that. Otherwise, just we should be happy with a good guess. She makes the claim. So I think the writer is not. This woman is not happy with her, with his work. Vectors. Yeah. So this reviewer doesn't seem to be happy with his chapter and what Barr has done and his claims. All right, so we have all the answers. And that's it for now. I don't know if you learned much from this video. I hope you have. And well, if in the process you might have some questions still to ask, so feel free to ask your questions in the comment section below. There are also other videos in this series of Read With Me that you can find here in this playlist, and you can also subscribe to IELTS Juice channel not to miss any of the future videos. Happy learning, and see you in the next one.